Chapter 9. Why don't you believe me? Patience opened the door of her flat. Lone was standing inside, pointing a gun at her.
"I'm sorry, Patience," he said. "I've come to arrest you."
Patience was at the police station. I don't like this room, she thought. There were no windows, just a table and 2 chairs. How long had she been here now? It seemed like hours. Lone sat opposite her. "I've told you again and again," she said. "Slavicki had proof that Biolin was dangerous. Laurel killed him to keep him quiet. George discovered the truth, and she killed him too. Why don't you believe me?"
"The gun was in your hand," said Lone. "The gun that had killed Hedare a few seconds before. The gun that killed Slavicki. You murdered them. Why should I believe anything different?"
"Because you know me, and because sometimes things aren't as they seem. Do you remember the first time that you saw me?"
"Yeah," said Lone.
"What did you think?"
"I thought you were rescuing a cat."
"No, you didn't. You thought I wanted to kill myself, but you were wrong, and you're wrong now. Please believe me, Tom."
"I'm trying to believe you, Patience," he said. "But I just can't. I'm sorry."
He called to a policeman outside the door.
"Lock her up again."
As she followed the policeman, Patience started to cry. But then she stopped feeling sad and began to feel very angry.
"Be a good kitty,"
laughed the policeman as he locked her door. Catwoman hissed at him. At the Hedare office building, Laurel Hedare was talking to a crowd of newspaper reporters. "My husband dreamed of a world where every woman could be beautiful," she was saying. "I'm going to make that dream come true. Tomorrow, I will give you Biolin. And nothing is going to stop me now," she thought.
"It's time to turn out the lights, prisoners!"
shouted the policeman in the hall. The moon was shining through the window into Patience's room. Midnight the cat squeezed through the bars. "Hello, Midnight," said Patience. "You've given me an idea." She got up and put her arm through the bars. Then she turned her head completely around and put that through too. Finally, she squeezed her body through the bars. Catwoman found a window and looked out. It was a long way down, 10 floors. She saw a car, a Jaguar, coming down the road. She smiled. She jumped out of the window and landed on her 4 legs. The Jaguar stopped suddenly with a loud scream of its wheels. The driver got out.
"Are you okay?"
he asked. "Never better, thank you," said Catwoman, as she jumped into his car and drove off. Laurel Hedare was giving pots of Biolin to female reporters. After they've started using this, they won't be able to stop, she was thinking. And I'll make lots of money, she smiled to herself.
"Excuse me, Mrs. Hedare?"
Lone appeared from nowhere.
"Have you got a moment? I'd like to ask you a few more questions."
Laurel felt cold, but she smiled. "Yes, of course, Detective Lone. Please excuse me, everyone." She walked with Lone to her office. "I saw Catwoman with a gun and my husband's dead body on the floor," Laurel said. "There were claw cuts all over him."
"But there weren't any claw cuts on Slavicki's body," said Lone. "And Catwoman didn't have a reason to kill either Hedare or Slavicki."
He remembered Patience's explanation at the police station, and there was something about Laurel Hedare that he didn't like. He decided to test her.
"I know who really killed your husband," he said. "I know about Biolin, too. And I've got proof. It was you.
Me? Well, if you've got proof, why haven't you arrested me? She asked.
You're a rich woman. I thought, perhaps, you would pay me for my silence, he replied.
She looked at him coolly. How much do you want? She asked.
You've just given me the only thing that I want. You've just told me that it was you.
Laurel took a gun out of the desk. She pointed it at Lone. Lone tried to take out his gun, but Laurel was too quick for him. Bang! Went her gun. The bullet hit him in the shoulder. He dropped his gun and fell against the wall.
Don't be stupid, he shouted. You don't want to kill a policeman.
Don't I? She said. She hit him across the face, and he fell to the floor. Now I'm going to kill you. She pointed the gun at his head. Suddenly, there was a hiss and a whip cracked. The gun flew from Laurel's hand. Catwoman jumped into the room.
Did you really think that you'd win? She asked. Well, think again.
She helped Lone to get up and walked with him to the door. She didn't see the gun on the floor. As soon as they had left, Laurel ran over to the desk and picked up the phone.
Come up here, she shouted. Now!
It was time to kill Lone and Catwoman. Chapter 10. Like a Stone. Catwoman helped Lone down the stairs. She knew they were in great danger. They had to escape fast. Armando ran up the stairs towards them with a gun. Bang! They turned back and went up again. They found a door and went through it. It was a large, dark room. The only light was the light of the moon. There were photographs of Laurel everywhere. Armando ran into the room after them. Laurel and Wesley were with him. Catwoman and Lone hid behind a huge photo. Lone was very weak. He had lost a lot of blood.
Listen, he said. I'm sorry I didn't believe you.
It's okay, she said. Stay here. I'll be back when it's safe.
She disappeared into the darkness. Catwoman jumped up and sat on top of a wall of photographs. She could look down on Laurel, Armando, and Wesley. She saw them go different ways. She decided to attack Wesley first. She jumped on him and hit his face with her knee. He fell to the ground, then lay still.
1 down, 2 to go, she thought.
At that moment, Armando found some blood on the floor. He followed the blood to the place behind the huge photo, but Lone wasn't there. Suddenly, Armando heard someone behind him. He turned, and Lone hit him in the face, once, and then again. Armando fell, and everything went black. Catwoman was sitting on top of the wall of photographs again. She was watching Laurel below. When Laurel was exactly under her, Catwoman dropped a large box. It missed Laurel by a few centimeters. Catwoman jumped to the floor. Laurel shot at her again and again, but Catwoman was too quick. Then, suddenly, Catwoman was on the floor, and Laurel was standing over her. She was pointing her gun at Catwoman's head. "Goodbye, Kitty," said Laurel with a smile. She tried to shoot, but nothing happened. There were no bullets. The gun was empty. She threw the gun away and jumped on Catwoman. Laurel hit Catwoman again and again, pushing her back towards a huge window. Catwoman tried to hurt Laurel, but she couldn't. Laurel's skin was as hard as stone. "You can't hurt me," said Laurel. "If a woman stops using Bioline, her skin falls off. But if she continues using it, her skin becomes perfect. I've been using Bioline for years. My skin is like a stone. I can't feel anything, but you can." Laurel hit Catwoman again. Catwoman fell, and a piece of metal cut her leg. She couldn't stand up.
Who are you, anyway? Laurel asked. A mad woman? A robber?
I'm Patience Phillips, said Catwoman. You killed me.
Patience Phillips? The designer? Laurel laughed. You're nobody. She kicked Catwoman. You're nothing. Patience was suddenly frightened. She's right, she thought. I can only paint. I can't fight. Laurel took a metal pipe and brought it down hard on Catwoman's head. Blood ran down her face. And now everyone will believe that you killed a policeman, too. A policeman? Thought Catwoman. Lone, the man that I love. She became very, very angry. At that moment, Laurel brought down the metal pipe against the window and it broke. Catwoman began to fall. It was 30 floors to the street below. I can't let this happen, she thought. No way! I can't let Laurel win. She suddenly became strong again and jumped into the air. She hung from a pipe high above Laurel. Then she jumped down. Beauty isn't only about skin, she said. Then she gave a very loud meow and jumped on Laurel. Laurel escaped, but Catwoman cracked her whip and caught her again. She hit Laurel across the face and cut her skin with her claws. Laurel's skin began to break like a glass mirror. No! She screamed as she fell towards the window. Please help me! Don't let me fall! Catwoman caught her with her whip and started to pull her back into the room. Just then, Laurel saw herself in the glass of the window. No, she cried. My skin! She touched her face. I'm not beautiful now. There were some pieces of glass under the whip. They were cutting through it. Suddenly, it broke. Laurel! Catwoman screamed. She reached for Laurel, but it was too late. Laurel was falling back into the darkness, falling to her death. Patience looked down sadly at Laurel's body in the street below. Lone walked up behind her. I saw you, he said. You tried to save her. Are you surprised? She asked. No, he replied. Not at all. Catwoman kissed Lone. It was a kiss that felt like a new start. Then, Catwoman ran off into the darkness. Lone watched her go. And finally, Patience walked through the building. She was very happy. On the walls were lots of pictures by new artists. She stopped and looked at one of the pictures. The artist's name was next to it. Patience Phillips. I discovered this artist a long time ago, said a male voice behind her, before she became famous. Patience turned around and saw Lone. She smiled. Well done, Patience, Lone continued. I'm really pleased for you. Thanks, she said. Your opinion means a lot to me. Do you think we can ever be happy together? He asked. I don't know, Tom, she replied. I'm just starting to understand who I am. I think I need to be on my own for the moment. Well, maybe you won't want to be alone forever. I can wait. He gave her a kiss. Be good, he said, and turned to go. Patience watched him as he walked away. Who knows, she thought. A woman came up to her. Your work is very special, she said. Your colours are wonderful. They're strong and dangerous. I think you have a great future ahead of you. Thank you, said Patience. I think I agree. She walked through the crowd with her head high. For the first time in my life, I believe in myself, she thought. Everything was perfect.
In a corner, Ophelia watched her, smiling. Midnight sat next to Ophelia and purred.